am so honored to be interviewing someone that I think should be everyone's favorite mom, second only to their own. A mom is someone who loves unconditionally. She's a best friend, a superhuman, and a heart healer. This so much describes Lyn. So Lyn, I know that this month it marks the 9-year anniversary of Ross's arrest in 2013. And a number of people here at the conference and on the live stream may not be familiar with Ross's case. So would you mind just kind of giving us an overview so anyone hearing about him for the first time can get up to speed?
Sure. First, I just want to say how great it is to be among all of you freedom-loving people. It's a little bittersweet for me because Ross should be here. I want Ross here. He would so love to be exploring ideas with you and having fun and just being with you all. But he can't be because he's in a cage, serving a double life sentence without parole for all nonviolent charges. And this is related to a website he created when he was 26 years old that sold far less than Facebook has, far less. And that was testified to in Congress. The site Silk Road was a free market website, kind of like eBay, but it was based on the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. That was the only means of exchange on the site, and very, very little known at the time. It was based on the non-aggression principle of voluntary interaction, and the idea was to, if two people wanted to exchange something, as long as it didn't hurt a third party, that should be fine. Now, some things were prohibited because they hurt people. For example, there was no child pornography or anything related to pedophilia on the site because the third party is a child and children are hurt by that. There was no stolen property because the legitimate owner is hurt by that. There were no violent services and et cetera, on and on. It was nothing that harmed a third party. However, there were many drugs bought and sold, most commonly small amounts of marijuana. And because it was considered a free choice between two people. And for this, Ross got a sentence twice as long as El Chapo. So that's kind of the overview of Silk Road. He's been, as just said, he's been in there now over 9 years. And I can't live with that. And I've been working towards his freedom along with family members and loved ones and supporters like Jess, like Martha, and so many of you here. Students for Liberty has been an amazing support for 9 years. And so we're going to get him out.
So when you were watching Ross grow up, I can't imagine a situation where you thought about one day advocating for your son would include needing to seek the President of the United States to grant clemency for your son. So what has it been like for you in your journey as falling into an activist, kind of an accidental activist kind of role that you found yourself into? What's that like as you've been fighting for your son?
Yeah, I was kind of catapulted into being an activist. When we first heard about Ross's arrest, it was from a Reuters reporter who called us and told us this whole wild tale about this website and murder for hire and all this stuff. And I'm like, murder for hire? He's a stellar human being. There's no way. Still feel that way. And he was never convicted for it, by the way. But in any case, I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Turn on the television, and there's George Stephanopoulos going, hey, they got the Silk Road guy. And I'm thinking, aren't we innocent until proven guilty in America? Have we had a trial I don't know about? In any case, suddenly our family just exploded with all of this stuff going on. Big trucks with media, cameras, and lights going by our house, our neighbors freaking out, phone ringing off the hook, emails pouring in. And we're like, it was like a tsunami hit our family. And I feel like I've been kind of treading water ever since. And that was what started it. The next morning, I just remember lying in bed going, first I woke up and I'm like, hadn't quite hit me yet. And then I'm like, oh my God, what happened? They're lying about Ross. And I cannot sit by and have them do that. And so I called a friend of his. We put up a one-page, helped me get a one-page website up, simply who Ross is and who Ross is not. And that was the beginning. And since then, I've just taken it one day at a time. And it's, I'd never spoken publicly. I'd never walked the halls of Congress. I'd never dealt with the criminal justice system, knew very little about it, or lawyers and all of that. But one step at a time, it's led me to be an activist, and really not only for my son, because we've seen the suffering that mass incarceration has caused. And because we know the families. We've gotten to know the families and seen the children who are shattered by this, who are families destroyed, communities destroyed. And it's really a human rights crisis and a national disgrace that we're the biggest incarcerator on the planet. And it's just these sentences are out of control ever since the drug war. And I've actually started an organization called Mothers Against Cruel Sentencing, because cruel sentencing is prohibited in our Constitution in the 8th Amendment. And because I want to give mothers and families and other people a chance to talk about the pain and damage that this criminal justice system is doing to people. And so that's how I became an activist, just one step at a time.
How has Ross been able to keep optimistic despite his draconian 2 life sentences plus how many years?
40
years.
Just for good measure.
How has
2 centuries, essentially.
With that kind of a sentence that he's facing, what is it that he does, shares with you, with others, that keeps up the hope?
Yeah, and by the way, his sentence is twice as long as El Chapo. That's how ridiculous it is. That's what the kind of abuse of power that it represents. Ross is a naturally optimistic person. He's still funny. He's still fun. He's still someone is fun to hang out with. He's a pleasure. So he's kind of naturally like that, and I think that's helped him. We've made sure that he has visits from family standing by him and all his friends and all of you all, because I tell him about you all. It means so much to him because it's so easy to be forgotten in prison. And Ross uses his time constructively. Well, he meditates, teaches a meditation class, and meditates a lot. He was kept in an 8x10 metal box, essentially, for months and months at a time during COVID. And that's a pretty fundamental deprivation of freedom, I would say. And he meditated a lot in there. He prays. His faith has gotten him through. It's gotten me through too. And I do believe that there's a divine intervention here and that we will get Ross out. But he also really has put a lot into helping other prisoners, because Ross is very educated and he's very sane. He's very solid in his emotions. And so he has mentored, he has tutored, helped people get their high school diploma. He's helped some get into remote college courses. He's now mediating, mentoring. He volunteered for Suicide Companion Watch so he could be with people to prevent a tragedy. There's a whole letter with, I can't remember how many prisoners who signed a letter to the president saying he doesn't belong in here. I've had guards tell me what a great person he is and how he doesn't belong in there. He just adds a positive, he's very positive as well as he can be. That's not to say it's easy. He has his, of course, difficult times. It's very hard. And, but he is disciplined, and he is intentionally positive, and he wants to make a difference even from prison. And so he writes, and we had an NFT sale of his art, and we're giving a chunk of it to charities to help other prisoners. He just wants to be a force for good, as he always has. Silk Road may have been a mistake. I know that he regrets it, but at the same time, his intentions were always good.
I've heard so many people and stories over the years that use the Silk Road to acquire things to help them out. Cancer patients looking for cannabis so they could feel better before people could go to dispensaries and just buy it. Right now we have, I think, 19 states people can get recreational cannabis. Over 30 states have medical cannabis. In the last administration, we were working to try to influence President Trump. Now it's the Biden administration. And the way to have Ross come join us at Students for Liberty or these Liberty conferences where he would be if he wasn't incarcerated, it's up to the president. So what are the best ways for people to try to help out? If you feel compelled today to do something, and there's so many people who have tried to do something after hearing Lyn, because it's really hard to walk out from hearing this woman and say, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to leave and go. There's so many ways that people have tried to help out Lyn, so we've got plenty of time. What are the best ways for people to leave this room, do either a small act, or if they want to do a big act, what can they do to try to help you and Ross?
Well, first I want to say that Ross is one of you. He was one of the first members of Students for Liberty. He was at the first conference, and his signature is on the commemorative T-shirt in Washington. He's one of you. And I'm, again, so grateful for all the support that we've gotten from all of you, many of you. And really what we're focusing on right now, there is a petition to the president asking for a commutation of Ross's outrageous sentence. Basically, correct this sentence. This is wrong. It sets a precedent for other people. And, you know, again, we're trying to have a good impact for others as well who are suffering. And so there's a petition. There's a couple of banners outside with QR codes to our website, freeross.org, that has a red button at the top of the homepage that will take you right to change.org, sign it. And one of the banners has a direct link to the petition itself. There's stickers around, and I'll be dispersing more of them with a QR code. Basically, we are at less than 2,000 signatures away from 500,000 people who are asking the president to commute Ross's sentence. And this doesn't guarantee anything, but what it is a tool for me and others to go to legislators and other influencers and say, 500,000 people want you to do this. 500,000 people believe this should happen. And I really like the ring of million. You know, I want to be able to say 500,000, and it makes a difference. It makes an impression. So please, so many people who support Ross haven't go, oh, I haven't done it yet. Please sign the petition. Please share it. And let's get over, this weekend, let's get over 500,000 for the petition. Thank you. Just take out your phone. And that kind of brings up the subject of legislators and influencers, because again, this requires a very high level of agreement by the President of the United States. It's not impossible. It's not like moving a physical mountain range. It's a piece of paper and a signature, but it's not easy. And so anyone who has connections with legislators, we would love letters backing up the president to do this. That would be amazing. Any influencers, anyone who can help in that regard, please get a hold of me on freeross.org. There's a footer on every page, how you can get right to me and others helping. And that would be fantastic. And also there's social media, of course. Ross has his own Twitter account. So you can promote that. It's called Real Ross U, the letter U. And it's all his own words. It's obviously he can't post it himself, but a loved one posts it. And so please promote that. There's also the official free_Ross Twitter account. And then others have made their own Twitter accounts with Ross's name that are helping us. Any of that, please share. Please, set the record straight. There's a lot of trolls out there, as I'm sure you know. There's also Instagram, Free Ross Ulbricht. There's a Facebook site, Free Ross community page. All of these things help, and amplify the message. Because again, and the pardon attorney said so, I heard her say so myself, public opinion matters to them. Petitions matter to them. And this is a way that you can help that's super easy, doesn't cost anything. And then if you have other skills and ways that you feel like you could help, just get a hold of me. I'm really accessible and would love to talk to you. So again, we can do this. It's just a piece of paper. So let's get Ross out of there so he can be here next year, okay? Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, everyone. Lynn mentioned that she's accessible, info@freeross.org. It's on the freeross.org website. And I know from meeting her in the past that she's open to any ideas. And I think to get Ross to be able to be at the next LibertyCon with us, a future LibertyCon with us, it's going to take a lot of creative ideas. The person that needs to be influenced is the President of the United States. It's his decision if he wants to add Ross to the list of people that he is going to grant clemency to. And when you go look at that list online, it's a pretty big list. There's a lot of people that get clemency for their sentences every single year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's get Ross on that one. freeross.org, and the petition link is?
Well, freeross.org/petition will get you right to it. There's also a button on the website. There's also QR codes on those banners, and I'm going to hand out stickers. Anybody wants stickers? I've got plenty, and it has a QR code there.
Let's make this Mom's Day and get that petition to 500,000, 500,000 signatures. If everyone could help out, if you feel compelled, please do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.